Ink Armor is the first special you have access to in Splatoon 2, and it's pretty simple technically. You just press the right stick and it activates. But the question of when to use it is complex and nuanced. Armor is not a panic special. It'll take a full 2 seconds to actually start protecting you, and the animation for activating it forces you to stand up and prevents you from using your main or sub weapon in the meantime. That's plenty of time for an opponent who's shooting you to splat you before it ever starts protecting you. It'll still go to your teammates if this happens, but the whole point of using the armor was to keep your team alive, so getting splatted for using it probably isn't a worthwhile play. Armor also isn't very stealthy. When armor is popped, there's a cloud that appears around the player who used it, and ink flies around the screen from that player to the teammates receiving it, so the enemy team can track players using those visual indicators. It also makes the players who receive it glow, so they're easier to see even when submerged in the ink. Finally, be very careful about having armor near drops off the map, because if an attack would have done lethal damage to an armored player, that player receives considerable knockback, which can lead to them being knocked off tower or into the water. Despite these drawbacks, armor has always been one of the strongest specials in the Splatoon 2 metagame, because an armored team rushing forward all at the same time is one of the most powerful offensive plays the team can make. It drastically reduces stingray damage, making it a great counter to that special, and it's a massive counter to one-shot reliant weapons like chargers and blasters. If a teammate is splatted or too far away from the action, it won't help them, so make sure to use armor once your team is regrouped and ready to fight again so it's actually going to be useful. Armor is arguably less important in Rainmaker because the Rainmaker carrier cannot receive armor. If you're the Rainmaker carrier, make sure to pop your armor before you pick it up because otherwise you'll never be able to use the armor you have. There's a situational strategy that can, in theory, help you farm armor faster. Normally, after using armor, the special meter slowly depletes for the whole time the armor is active on your team, and you can't charge armor again until the meter drains all the way down to 0. However, if the user's armor is broken, their special meter instantly resets to 0, and they can start farming it again right away. Does this mean you want to run out and get shot? Maybe, maybe not, but it does maybe incentivize the armor user to play a little more aggressively when they pop it, and maybe if there's an enemy sprinkler nearby or something, it might save a little bit of time, I guess.